Okay. Good evening and welcome to the December 11th, 2014 Conservation Commission meeting. I'll call the meeting to order at 7:11. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Fred Pearson called and he is excused for this evening, as is Eric Wagode and also Bruce Fecteau. And Tony Weinstein, yes. Thank you, Andrea. Yeah, Tony may arrive a little bit later. Sue, could you do the roll call, please? Present.
Present.
Andrea Frey.
Present.
John Brackett.
Present.
Bob Gasta.
Here.
And since we have an opening, I would like to appoint Bob Gazda as a voting member for this evening's meeting. Public comments. We have one member of the public here, but he expressed earlier that he did not have any comments. You're welcome to make any later. Thank you for coming. Next is approval of minutes. So we have two sets of minutes that I'd like to review tonight. The first one is the February 20th, 2014. Sue, thank you for writing those up and emailing them out. Do we have a motion to approve the February 20th meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve February 20th, 2014 minutes.
Thank you, Andrea.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Jeff. Does anyone have any corrections or comments on those meeting minutes? Hearing none. Let's take a vote to approve the February 20th, 2014 meeting minutes as drafted. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Wasn't here.
Okay. So we have a 4-0-1.
What? I wasn't here.
That's
Me
fine.
neither.
You actually can.
Then I'd like to change my vote retroactively, and I would say yay.
Okay, 5-0-0. Okay, and then the next meeting minutes is our meeting minutes from last month, which is November 13th. Do we have a motion on the November 13th minutes?
I'll make another motion to approve the November 13th minutes, 2014.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Bob. Any comments, corrections, suggestions, changes to the November 13th, 2014 meeting minutes? Great job, Sue. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the November 13th, 2014 meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? It's a 5-0-0. Next up is the treasurer's report. A report was forwarded from the finance department to Eric Wagode, and then Eric emailed that out to all the commission members either yesterday or the day before. Does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments related to the treasurer's report? There wasn't anything of any significance that I saw. Basically we have expense for having the meeting minutes drafted. There was a new expense for training, which I believe was the training that Bob went to. Yeah. I didn't see anything of significance.
I didn't see anything either.
Okay. Hearing none, let's move on to committee and subcommittee reports. John, is there anything in front of the planning board that may be of particular interest to the Conservation Commission?
Nothing at the moment. I don't believe there is.
Okay, thank you. Any other subcommittees that have anything to report? I haven't done anything on the trails lately, I know that.
I have none
Has anybody been out at Follett's Brook? I haven't been out there since last year. When we,
I have not been, no.
yeah, I'll take a walk out there,
Okay,
see how things are.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Once the snow flies, I'll be out there a lot more.
Yeah, I was just wondering how they, the invasives, if they've grown back since we pulled them though, about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
almost 2 years now.
Probably.
Yeah, some have probably come back and,
Yeah, we have
Hopefully
big brush piles out there too. They should be pretty dry by now.
yes. Yeah.
Are we gonna burn brush?
They would be hard to burn, I would say, just because there's so much around them.
Yeah.
The
Just let
one,
'em
the-
rot.
yeah, the
Yeah.
pile out at Wigan Farm is in the middle of the field. That one, if we get an opportunity, I would like to burn that this winter.
Could I ask that the date of that burning be sent out to the
Absolutely, yeah,
email so we can properly observe the burn?
sure. Yep. And I think it was 2 winters ago that we burned a pile out there.
Yep.
And it was, you could see the next spring and summer where that burn was. Initially in the spring, you could see the burned area, but there was, the circle where the burn was substantially greener as everything grew back in. It was very noticeable.
It's nice.
Who burns that? Is it gonna be
Quite
us or
impressive.
is it gonna be the fire department?
It'll be us, yeah.
Oh.
So we have to wait until we have a good snow cover, and then,
Were we gonna tarp that pile?
yes, that's the hope.
Okay.
It would be nice for it to not have snow on it and then be able to.
Well, right.
So I have a chunk of marginal tarp that I would like to throw over it, and it's green, so it's not a obtrusive color.
I have a marginal tarp, but it's blue.
It's a matter of, when I think about it, we've just gotten a little bit of snow and everything's wet, and I don't really want to.
Right.
How big is this brush pile?
Huge.
It's not real big.
Give us a
It's taller than me.
a guesstimate square
was.
footage.
Oh, it's
Yeah, it's probably
compacted now?
shrunk.
Oh.
What would you say the footprint is?
10 foot in diameter?
The circle right here.
Yeah, maybe the size of this circle in here.
Oh,
It's big.
it's
It's-
pretty.
it-
That's
yeah.
good size.
Yeah, it's a decent sized pile.
I can get some free tarps from work. I mean, the lumber comes in and they just throw that stuff away.
Oh wow.
It's waterproof.
Oh,
They
where's
store
this
lumber.
place?
Yeah.
Free tarps?
Yeah.
Sounds
Well,
good.
it's not really a tarp, but it's that material that they wrap the lumber in.
Mylar, right? Or it's a.
Home Depot stuff. And it's just black, and it's got the white background. You can either put white or black on it, but I'll bring a bunch of that if we want to use it.
Okay,
It's gonna
yeah.
be pieces though, and then you're gonna have to throw brush on it to hold it down, because the pieces are, they're probably 8 feet wide, maybe 16 feet long, some of them.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
they're good size.
Two of
how
those.
about if I get in touch with you, Bob, before I head out there to tarp it up? Maybe I can just grab one. If you can just bring 1 or 2 home.
I'll give you a dozen if you want them.
No, just 1 or 2. I'll get in trouble if I bring
All right,
too
I'll
much
br- I'll
stuff
bring
home,
some.
you know what I mean?
I'll have them ready for you.
Fair enough. That would be perfect.
I'll go out with you and help you.
Okay, sure, that'd be great. So, next up is the chairman's report. I believe I sent something out in September at our meeting. The Nature Conservancy came and spoke to us regarding a grant that was being applied for through the Moose Plate to upgrade the culvert on Bay Road at Lubberland Creek. Does everyone remember that? So the town eventually applied. The town was the applicant for that Moose Plate grant, and the town has heard back, and the answer was that no, we would not be receiving any grant funding for that project. However, the Nature Conservancy had also applied to the Department of Environmental Services coastal program for their Coastal Resilience Fund grant program, and that grant was funded, and that is funded in the amount of $32,000. That grant still needs to be approved by the governor, the executive council, and I think there was one other organization, I forget who exactly it was. However, the expectation is that that will, find its way through and be approved. And I believe the time frame on that was late February or sometime into March. So the Nature Conservancy is still hoping to proceed forward with this project. If you remember, the overall project expense was estimated at $64,000. This grant from the Department of Environmental Services would cover half of that cost. The Conservation Commission voted at the September meeting to contribute $10,000 towards this Phase 1 study. And the Nature Conservancy is going to be looking for private donors to make up the difference to reach the funding level of $64,000. So that, just as an FYI, that's where that is at.
Do you remember how much they asked for from the moose plate? Was it 50?
I think that's what I remember.
I think it was 25.
25?
I believe it was 25.
Okay. That's good then.
Yeah, so that's where that is. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them, or we can, if I can't answer them, we can forward the question on to the Nature Conservancy and they can get back to us. All right, hearing none?
Yeah, the only thing would be is, do they want us to wait until February, actually, probably, to think about moving forward with any more? If we were to look for more funding on our end, they'd want to know if they had this 32,000 for sure, would be my guess.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's correct. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it could be, in an ideal world, it would be better news if they had gotten the DES grant and the town had gotten the Moose Plate grant. So to get 1 out of 2 is still not bad. Okay, next up, under the old and new business, shoreland impact permit issued for the redevelopment of the home at 6 Great Cove Drive. I said at the October meeting that we had received a letter stating that that permit had been approved, and there was some concern as to whether or not the Conservation Commission had seen that shoreline impact permit. And Jeff has done some research into that, and so Jeff, if you could speak to that, please, that would be great.
Sure. It was a permit just basically for redevelopment of a lot where they had an existing home and they were going to take it out and put in a new home in its place. And so basically all I really want to get down to is what needs to be provided to the town and who's required to see it. So the applicant for a pure shoreland impact permit, not for a wetland permit, is simply required to provide a copy to the copy of the application to the municipality within that the property lies within, which they did. They provided the complete application and a letter along with it to the planning and zoning department in town, and unlike a wetland permit, it's not required to be provided to the Conservation Commission in the town. So that is most likely why we didn't see it.
Is that a state rule?
Yes. It doesn't say you don't have to. It just
Right.
says you must provide it to the municipality. I did look at the RSA, and that's what it said. And basically, the application itself says the same thing that the RSA says. They just simply have to give it to the municipality. So I spoke to Sue Jordan over there. Diane was not in when I went to the planning department. So what I think that we should do is just simply request of the planning department that when they get a shoreline permit in, that they provide us a copy or just notify us that one came in, and that way we can go down and review it or make copies of it as we see needed. That way we can have an opportunity to provide the state with some comments, because I did speak to I believe his name is Jason Ober, or Aber, I'm not sure how you say his name, I think it's Auber. I spoke with him about the situation, and he said that they really want to see comments from the Conservation Commission on shoreline permit projects, and that he had hoped that we would get an opportunity to review them. So he just suggested that I basically inquire within other departments in the town and just kind of request that they are forwarded on to us when they come in. And so either Drew or myself should basically just send a request to the planning department that when they receive those, that we be notified.
Are there other development projects that could happen in sensitive areas that we're not seeing the permits of? Or is it pretty much just wetland and shoreline?
Pretty sure it's wetland and shoreland. Yeah.
That's my understanding as well.
So that's that.
Okay.
More or less.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sure. And I have the copy here, so a copy.
So does everyone agree that it would make sense for the Conservation Commission to request of the Planning Department? I think the way to do it is probably request to both the Planning Department and to the town clerk that if a shoreline permit comes in, we would like to be notified.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that the town clerk even sees this, because the letter is addressed directly to planning and zoning.
Well, that may be the case for this, but since the
exactly,
RSA
yeah,
just
yeah.
says
Right,
it needs
right.
to go to the municipality,
Right.
some people may deliver it to the planning
Exactly,
department,
true.
some people may deliver it to the town clerk. It seems like those are the two places that it would potentially go to.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it would be reasonable to submit a request to both of those, saying that we would like to have the opportunity to see them.
Definitely. That was the first place that DES said that I should go. So I went to the town clerk first, and they had no record of this being. So the town clerk doesn't have this either. So if a resident wants to review it, they have to go to the planning department. But that's wholly true. Hopefully, it would actually end up at zoning or planning.
Right.
If the town clerk to get it as well.
Right.
I'm surprised there's no set, protocol. Who gets it, you just give it to whoever.
At the town. Really surprised too. I think it's unfortunate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who
Perhaps a
knows
change in
who's
the
it?
RSA is due.
Yeah.
Maybe we should notify the New Hampshire Conservation Commission
Association.
Oh, yeah.
Association of Conservation Commissions, because they do lobbying and I don't know.
Be
It's
more
a good idea.
specific with that.
Yeah. So Jeff, could you draft a
Yep.
short letter that just requests that, please?
Yep, definitely.
Thank you. Okay, next up is the wetlands permit for the shed rebuild at 17 Moody Point Drive. We discussed this at the last Conservation Commission meeting, and Jeff drafted a letter and sent it out. Everyone had an opportunity to review it, and then Jeff, you sent a copy of that both to the property owner and to the Department of Environmental Services.
Right.
Correct?
I sent it to Dave Price at New Hampshire at the Wetlands Bureau, and I sent it to Mark West, who is the
Representative.
the representative of the applicant, and he was to pass it on to the applicant, Mr. Prostkoff. In essence, the letter just said that we support it, just that we asked that they, like we spoke about, not store materials, either building or demolition materials between the silt sock and the river, and that they don't use machinery between the silt sock and the river, and the silt sock has adequate coverage to capture any runoff from the site. And Mr. Price said that they would add our concerns to the permit, or they would consider them when drafting the permit. I did not send a paper copy.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah, because like I said, Mr. Price and Mark West work together often, and they both basically, I think this is adequate these days for notification.
Yeah, I think it's preferred.
Yeah, I think so too. Definitely.
That was the impression I got from
Yeah.
from the email trail that I saw.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Next item is the composters and rain barrels. Pauline and Fred dropped off some information for us. Rather than try to talk about all of this and try to figure out what we'd like to do, what I would like to do is I would like to scan the information that she dropped off and then email it out to all the commissioners so that we have a chance to read it and think about it a little bit. If we would like to order, I believe we need to make a decision by, let's see. We need to make a decision by March 13th of 2015. So we have a little bit of time. It seems like it would be a good thing to think about a little bit and review the information and then decide how to proceed. And so to back up from a historical perspective, the Conservation Commission has bought compost bins, rain barrels, and turners to be used with the compost bin because the compost bin is one that sits on the ground. It is not one that is a barrel that you rotate. And the turners are quite useful. Historically, the Conservation Commission has purchased these and then resold them to people in town at cost. So it's a public service that we do. We need to discuss and figure out storage location for the materials because the rain barrels are quite large. They're basically sort of a 55-gallon drum. They do stack inside of each other somewhat. I believe the composters are more compact and easier to store. And I'll have to get the information on how many rain barrels and how many composters we have left. I think we still have a few rain barrels left from previous year's orders. So we'll have to get that information as well.
I think I remember her saying the composters were gone and that
think that's
storing
right.
them in their barn wasn't a problem. So, in the future, they'd be willing to do that again.
Are you sure? Because I thought I heard them say it the other way around, that the rain barrels are gone, but they had a few composters.
Oh, maybe.
It was no composters and something like 9 rain barrels. And they didn't care, they could continue to store.
Yeah. Free of charge.
I don't know. I was supposed to go over there and go look at them.
She had one that was spoken for.
Oh,
Yeah.
that must have been the
Yeah.
That
demo.
was the one you were gonna take as a demo to your friend.
Surely.
Right. Yeah, she had one she was holding for
Yeah.
Dale Pike, the
Oh.
former representative.
Cool.
Okay.
Or two, actually.
Yeah, I think they're spoken for anyway.
So expect to see some information coming into your email inboxes as it relates to composters and rain barrels. And there's a minimum order. So for example, the minimum order on the compost bins is that we would have to buy 20 of them, and they're $50 each, so that would be $1,000. The minimum order on the rain barrels is 15, and the minimum order on the turners is 35.
I think the rain barrels are more than $15.
The minimum order for the number of rain barrels is 15. Yeah, the rain barrels are $65 each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see, okay.
And they sold all the turners as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, she said those sold well.
The turners are $20 each. So again, actually this, Pauline gave us all copies of this, so I can hand these out, and that way we don't have to email that out.
Drew, just in reference to emailing out, sometimes I get stuff, I think from you, and maybe other people, in a Microsoft Office format. I can't open that on my computer. I can open a PDF file.
Yep, okay.
Is there a way you can do that?
DocX maybe.
I try to send everything out as a doc and a PDF.
Yeah. I try to as well.
So you yeah. Either way, you should be able to get it. It's the same thing, it's just two different formats.
Yeah. The other way, you have to subscribe to it, I guess, my, Office.
You have to
buy
own it, yeah.
Own it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's ways around it. I use Soft, which is, they use it all around the world. It's almost like Microsoft, but it's open source.
So as
Yeah.
long as I
Yeah.
can open it, that's
Yeah.
all I care about.
Cool. I don't know if you want-
I use Open Office,
Kitchen.
Yeah, open office, yeah.
same thing.
And Eric did some looking into some of this as well. It'd be good for him to be here to discuss it with us as well.
Yes. Yep.
The composters and the
Mhm.
rain barrels,
Yep.
as far as offering to other municipalities and.
Right. Okay, so next item is the Conservation Commission hats and shirts. So historically, the Conservation Commission has purchased and made available to the Conservation Commissioners basically a shirt, which John is wearing underneath his.
Shall I stand
shirt
up?
there.
Would you like me to, no? Okay.
Sure, whatever you want.
Here, well,
And a hat?
yeah, I got the
I
hat.
don't, I
right
don't want
here.
you to do anything that harms you.
You know, that's a good idea. I better stay seated then.
Yeah.
That's quite a
So
laugh.
for anyone who does not have a shirt or a hat, let's chat after the meeting, because we have some in the back there, and we can make arrangements to make sure that everyone has one.
And we'll wear them next meeting?
If you so desire, we
Oh.
can do that or not.
Well, I guess Pauline was gonna take a new photo of everyone. That was the idea.
You say a new photo?
Yes.
Okay.
An
Yeah,
updated photo.
Yeah, an updated photo, that's right.
How's that?
Nude photo.
Hopefully not.
Sure.
No
Just
D.
the hats.
Just that.
Just hats only.
Nude photos.
Hats only.
Sure.
Okay, so
That might
No,
do
that might
well.
boost our funds.
You know what? We should do what we gotta do for this commission.
Calendar.
Yes.
Other
all right,
times-
next item.
We'll get that
Easement monitoring.
culvert built.
Moving on. So the only easement that still needs to be monitored is the New Roots Farm. And I've been in communication with the owners, and we're currently scheduled for this coming Sunday, December 14th.
What time's that?
That is up for discussion.
Oh.
I would advocate a noon or 1 o'clock
Ooh, that's a good time.
That
start
is a good
time.
time.
What day is this? A what?
Sunday?
Sunday,
This Sunday.
December 14th.
Yeah, okay.
Just remember, it
Say that time.
gets dark around, what, 3 o'clock now? 3:30?
4, but, well, it starts getting dark earlier. Yeah, if I remember correctly, this one takes about an hour and a half.
It
Does that
doesn't
sound
really
about
take
right?
very long.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
I'm down with 12 if you guys are.
Yeah, what's people's
time?
preference?
12 sign?
I would say either 12 or 1.
12
and that doesn't-
12 sign?
12 o'clock? Let's
Yeah.
do 12 noon.
Okay.
Okay.
And we just
Where's
meet
this
there.
location?
Okay, does everyone, yeah, I was gonna say, does everyone know where
Doe
New
Farm.
Roots Farm is?
What's it called? New Roots Farm?
New Roots Farm. It's on Doe Farm Lane, all the way at the end.
It's down Grant Road?
Mhm.
Down Grant Road, just past the Wigan Farm.
Yeah.
Turn right onto Doe Farm Lane.
Okay.
Bear left all the way.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Or bear right.
Bear right.
Oh.
I bear right,
Oh.
I bet right.
and then,
That's probably true,
Turn
because
right
I have
into
to
the
go around
driveway.
this weird thing.
yeah.
So it's the first road on the right after the Wigan Farm.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's Doe
right
Farm
after.
Lane. And then you'll come to a right-hand turn, take that right-hand turn, and it sort of loops around to the left. And then New Roots Farm is a driveway
I don't,
off to the right.
they have a little sign there, right?
They do have a sign there, yes.
So we could wear our hats.
Sure.
Unless
I'll
it's too
I'll
chilly.
probably be wearing a warmer hat, but
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know if it's hunting season still, but
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much in the open.
Oh.
So it's
Yeah.
not a major concern, I would say.
Okay.
so it's not that far off of when you turn off of Grant Road to the
No,
site.
less than half a mile.
Okay. Yep.
Mike?
Oh, yeah.
I would recommend looking at a map, because the roads are a little,
So if it snows, how much snow is too much snow to go out there? A little little sprinkle we go.
5 feet.
A little sprinkle we go. If it's coming
Under
down.
5 feet? then-
Under 5 feet.
Snowshoes
I'm
anyway.
dead serious. We need this to be done by the end of December.
So Sunday it is.
Sunday it is.
All
yes.
right, sounds good. I wasn't trying to be odd with it.
No, no, I
I'm just-
understand.
I'm just
I
curious,
understand.
just curious.
Right, no, I understand. And I'm only saying the 5 feet because of the time frame.
Okay.
That's all.
So be it.
4.5 feet will be up.
Luckily, we do not live in Buffalo. Does anyone have anything else under new or old business?
I had something very brief I'd just like to bring up.
Sure.
I'm not sure if you brought this up, Bob, after the class that you took. I can't remember. I had a seminar the other day in actually forest health, and they talked a lot about forest pests, and they spent a considerable amount of time talking about the emerald ash borer. Did you speak about that, Bob?
Yeah, yeah. I did.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that. Maybe I missed it when you mentioned that we're actually in a quarantine area here in Rockingham County. You did mention that. Okay.
Yeah, I said something.
For
that they're
firewood,
talking
right?
about it, Yeah.
Yeah, for firewood and forest products, there's for
What's
ash.
that
and,
include? Besides
um,
firewood?
could be lumber.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
they can't be moved out of the county unless it's going to be used, dried, burned, or something by May of the next season or March of the next season, I
Hmm.
believe. I didn't realize how we actually went and looked at some emerald ash borer infested trees in Concord. Yeah, it's quite a concern with the foresters in the state.
Yeah, in the western
Southern-
part of the state, it's really bad. It's coming this way.
Around Concord, yeah, and they found it in Salem. And then in southern Rockingham County, basically. Who knows, though? It could be.
Could be
Could be
here,
here.
we just don't know it.
I know, yeah, and so I mean, like, people, you cut down wood in Newmarket and bring it to Durham, you're actually leaving the quarantine zone.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
so it's just something that I actually wasn't completely aware that, you know, you weren't allowed to move ash wood out of Newmarket into Durham or.
Is that, would you say it's only ash wood, or it's all woods? All
I
hardwoods or
believe it's
softwoods or something? Or?
ash.
So firewood, if you're cutting firewood and you can't sell it outside of Rockingham County. You have to stay within the county.
You can sell it to people in Massachusetts, and you can sell it to people in Cheshire and Hillsborough, I believe. Not Cheshire. Hillsborough and Merrimack counties, I believe. Hillsborough. and-
But I'm confused. But only
Because they're also in the quarantine area.
oh,
So it
okay,
can
all right.
move throughout the
Stratford's not.
quarantine area,
Stratford's
and
not.
Stratford is not within the quarantine.
So if you cut
area.
oak in Newmarket, you could take it to Durham. But
I
if you
believe
cut
so.
cut ash in the quarantine area, it cannot leave the quarantine area.
Unless you have I believe you need a permit, and then it needs to be. You need to kind of provide assurance that it's going to be burned by a certain
Soon.
date. Yeah, by a certain date in the spring, so that the eggs don't hatch, because they've done some unbelievable studies with firewood.
Do you have any pictures of it over there?
Yes, I have a very good bug and insect
Ooh.
chart, which shows what they call lookalikes, and some
Oh.
information about.
Do you have any copies of that chart?
I can scan that, and email it to people if they want a
That would
PDF
be-
format,
yeah.
or there's some a link to a website, I think, on that piece of paper.
I don't have a color printer, but I could use one for the truck.
Yeah, if
If-
there's a link to a website, you can take that if you want. I think I can get.
I'd love to take that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I work outdoors all day.
There's also a disease for the hemlock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget what it's
Mhm.
called.
They-
It's a
they
white
talk- they
fuzzy.
talk-
Woolly adulgin.
they talk quite a bit about the woolly adelgid and how pervasive it is in southern New Hampshire, definitely, and it's basically it's here, and there's not much you can do about it, really. You can treat some trees, and some trees they're like, yeah, it's just not really worth treating. Different. They talk a lot about blister rust as well, and there's going to be a spruce bud outburst in a couple of years, but that doesn't really pertain to us too much in the southern part of the state.
Hmm.
But the emerald ash borer thing is definitely something for us to keep an eye out on. For.
Could I see that map?
And there's
as well?
there's a map and there's some management actually suggestions for homeowners and landowners and
Yeah,
woodlot
ash trees in
owners.
that area. I haven't seen that, but
Um,
no.
One thing they talked quite a bit about is that the blonding on the trees. There's a picture of it there. That's one thing to look out for. Like so, woodpeckers will go into an
It's
ash.
odd looking.
Yeah, woodpeckers will go to an ash tree that's infested, and they'll kind of basically start peeling the bark away in an area. And when you start peeling the bark away in the ash tree, it just starts to look kind of blonde compared to the basically gray bark of the tree. And so you can see these patches of blonde area.
Hmm.
Otherwise a woodpecker would make a fairly sizable hole in the tree. So this is one of the few insects around here that'll actually get into these ash trees.
Now, who do we call if we see something that looks like this, or?
There's a number on one of those sheets or a
Oh, yeah.
email.
1-800. Or you can report it online, it looks
Yeah, you
like.
can report online. You can report most stuff by going to the Fish and Game website or the DES website.
Report suspicious trees to that number.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's definitely some strategies to. They say, you know, if you have, they basically went into forest management as well and said if you have infested trees on your land, you don't cut them all down because that'll create a big gap, and it tends to move very well across gaps. So if you leave like one or two,
For bait.
that tree might become completely infested and kind of suck insects into it instead of
Oh,
spreading them out
interesting.
more. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I wouldn't have thought about doing
Do
that.
you know how they treat these trees? Is it cutting them down, or they spray them with
That's
something?
that second page.
They cut them down, and if you get them within the first couple of years after they get infested, you can actually still use the lumber because they barely bore into the wood. They don't go into the heartwood, they only go into
Yeah.
the surface, but if the tree dies and starts to rot, then you kind of lose the value in the timber. Because a lot of people grow ash for, for other than firewood, as a usable timber for furniture or
Baseball bats.
Baseball bats, yeah, exactly.
Very
Blue
cool.
paddles, yeah, ash.
Yeah.
They actually talked about in Asia there are ash trees that are similar in that these bugs really don't affect the ash trees there. They don't kill them like they do here because this bug just lives there. And it's not because there's a bird or something that's eating them. It's something about the tree itself. So they're actually trying to cross some trees and actually maybe even trying to grow those varieties of ash trees in the United States. So kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, they
But-
did quite an extensive discussion about that at the seminar that I went to this past spring at UNH. The state had professionals, state foresters came in, talked extensively about the infestation, about the ash borer,
Right.
and the thing for the hemlock.
Right.
So everybody's aware of it, and the UNH Cooperative Extension Program
Right.
would be a place to call if anybody out there wants more information on it. They
Definitely.
get a hold of the UNH, New Hampshire Cooperative Extension Program out of Durham.
And
the
they'd be
holes
happy to come out.
The holes are tiny in the trees. They're small.
They look like a bullet hole in the side into
With
the tree, like a .22.
The little D shape
little
to it, yeah. It's a little squished. They say it's a D shape, and they say it's about the size that the woman from the state gave was the size of like 2 grains of rice
Uh-huh.
wide. Like they're not like these like
Side by
holes.
side or end to end?
She said stacked, I think.
Okay.
Like really small.
Okay.
Not much at
Okay.
all.
Yeah, because it's not the full-grown beetle that's going in there. They're just putting eggs in there, and then they hatch
Oh,
in
the
there.
larvae squirrel.
The larvae go in there. And,
Mhm.
yeah, so, and it's not like they talked a lot about the Asian longhorn as well, and that they haven't really found that to be an issue in New Hampshire yet
Yeah, yeah.
at all. A lot of false reports, but no real Asian longhorn issues.
Yeah, there's another insect that looks a lot like the Asian longhorn, from what I understand.
Yeah,
that,
I've
that
found those in
generates
my
a lot of
yard
those false
called-
positives.
Yeah, it's another longhorn beetle,
Yeah.
spotted longhorn. I forget the name of it, but
It's got like
It's not in
different
here,
number of
though.
spots.
No.
It's really close looking.
yeah,
I had to look it up. I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah, they're kind of the way their antenna move is kind of neat.
yeah, they're cool.
All right. Thank you, Jeff.
sure.
Anyone have anything else? Welcome, Tony. Just in time for a motion for adjournment.
Would you like to make it?
Unless she's got something to
You
tell
want to do a
us. from
council
the-
update before you
Yeah.
adjourn?
Sure, yeah,
Sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Do you have a town council update?
I do actually.
Excellent, sure.
Not a lot, but or maybe I do. Hopefully I
That's all
brought my
right.
notes.
Sure.
Well, how are you?
There were a couple of things that I wanted to bring up to the Conservation Committee, and there was a public hearing at our last town council meeting about some changes in the water regulations, and I thought that might be of interest to this group. We decided, we didn't vote on it because there were changes, but we didn't have the original document, so we weren't really sure what exactly the changes were. So we're going to probably vote on it at the next meeting, I would imagine. So that's coming up. And then at our next meeting, so our meeting next week, we're going to be discussing a grant that's going to look at, it's going to study building resilience to the flooding to the resilience to the flooding of the Moonlight Brook watershed. So, and that's an extension of some work that had been done in the past, or the recent past. So it's going to.
Where's that located?
The Moonlight Brook watershed, in the downtown area.
Yeah,
I don't have the exact.
Runs behind the high school, that
it
brook
goes
that
behind
runs
the
Oh,
high
okay.
school
Yep,
and the
okay.
elementary school,
Yep.
and then goes under Maple Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
and then
So
kind of goes underground, goes underneath the railroad tracks, and then goes under 108, going north, if you will.
Jerry Avenue, right at the foot of this hill.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and then comes out near Water Street.
Does it come out at Shanda Park?
Comes out and goes through those
Oh,
pipes
okay.
at Shanda
Okay.
Park.
Yeah.
Alright.
So if you follow that back to 108, there's almost
Yeah.
a,
Called
does it
Moonlight
go
Brook?
under that little, if you go behind the Sitco station?
Yes.
There's a little bit of a stone arch you can see.
Yeah, I think so.
And that,
Oh,
that's where
yep,
it goes
yep.
underneath the railroad tracks,
Exactly.
and then from there it
Okay.
goes into,
Right.
goes subterranean,
Yes.
and goes through a series of culverts, and then eventually comes out by Shanda Park.
Oh, okay.
So it's an area that's been particularly
Bad.
affected by flooding in the
Well,
past,
yeah,
the Mother's
it-
Day flood. And
Right, and essentially what has happened in the past is that the Piscassic River level comes up, and if it comes up high enough, it overflows into the Moonlight Brook rivershed or watershed. And then that watershed gets overwhelmed.
Right.
And essentially the culverts that are underneath 108 and in that area get overwhelmed because they're receiving all this additional extra water from.
Did they fix those culverts after the Mother's Day flood so that lower 108 area wouldn't flood anymore?
So, I think
They
just
enlarged
No.
that whole culvert, that
Yeah, I thought
pipe is
they-
huge now. They dug that whole street up,
Yeah.
put thousands of dollars into that.
They've done some work down in that area,
Not
yes.
enough.
But
Okay. So I thought I heard that the work they did would prevent that type of flooding from happening, in that low 108.
I think they monitor that culvert too, under the tracks, because it was clogged up with debris
Oh,
the
yeah.
last time, and that's caused a lot of problems too.
Right. Basically, when you pull into the Sitco, if you take a right, you're driving right at the arch.
Yeah.
It's like right in front of you, and that's where the water flowed right across that parking lot and filled that area up
Yeah.
there, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so all the information about this study, I imagine, will be in the packet that will be available, the town council packet. It'll be available on Friday. So we haven't seen the background information yet, so I can't imagine that we're going to vote to not accept the grant money. I want to say we're probably gonna vote to accept the grant money. It's just under $60,000. So, and it's no cost to the town.
Who's gonna do this study?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I want to say UNH. I
Okay.
think UNH.
Okay. Just curious.
Geotech?
So are we actually applying for the grant, or the grant's already
To
been?
accept the grant.
Okay, so
Yep.
it's an
Yep,
acceptance.
it's to
okay.
accept the grant.
Okay.
So. Yep, so that, and then the budget review wrapped up, and there weren't any changes. And then the public hearing is going to be Monday, this coming Monday, I believe that's the 15th at 7 o'clock. So that's the public hearing for the town budget.
Where's that gonna be at?
It'll be here.
In this room?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, downstairs
it
is
might-
still, they're still working on downstairs.
Oh, okay, sure,
Yep.
fine.
Yep,
Be tight. Standing room only.
15th. Yep.
Be a lot of people, I think,
You think?
Don't say that.
maybe.
There might
Who
be.
knows?
I don't think that there's, I have to say, I don't think that there's anything controversial in this town budget. No significant cuts, no significant additions.
Increases, yeah.
I mean, it's really, There's not a lot that will bring people out. I don't think. I would love to see a packed room. I just don't know if it's going to happen. And then the last thing that I wanted to bring up, Steve Fournier brought it up at our most recent meeting, is that I guess there's been some illegal dumping at the Carpenter property, which is the property that's across the street from the high school. People think that they can dump things there, leaves, debris. So they can't. It's private property. Police are, taking note, and I just thought I would bring it up here to
Was there any
try
talk
and spread
about
awareness.
fencing that or doing something with that property? Because it looks like something where you might think that you can just dump something there.
I know.
Yeah, it kind of does.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. My understanding is that they're going to do some demolition there. That's not a town issue. That's really for the school to do. But that
The town owns it though, don't they?
the school district owns
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're gonna use it for some training before they do the demolition for the fire department and the police
Ooh.
department. So I think that they're gonna do some sort of a burn
Ooh.
at some point.
That's
my understanding.
Which part? Like the
Don't.
actual building?
I don't know.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
So I just know that because of the school piece of it. So,
Okay.
my town council
Thank you.
update.
Thank you.
And there were, just one other thing, there were 62 kids in the chorus at the elementary school, and 100 kids, I think. 125 kids in band. It's 5th and 6th grade. Sorry, different school. 4th and 5th grade band. It was incredible.
Wow.
So, standing room only.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's gotta be most of the class then, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's,
Mm.
yeah. So, a lot of kids.
What was that, tonight?
Yeah, that's why I was
that
late.
was your
Because
concert? Oh,
my
okay.
son was, he's in chorus.
Oh, it wasn't something
cool.
down at like Casino Bar?
Yeah, no.
or anything like that, no?
Elementary school chorus concert. Yeah.
Okay, if no one else has any new or old business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, there you go. I'll second a motion.
Thank you, Bob and Jeff. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 6-0. Thank you, one and all.